Section 1. Dedication of Lucasta. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read by Larry Wilson. Lucasta by Richard Lovelace. Dedication. To the Right Honourable my Lady Anne Lovelace. To the richest treasury that e'er filled ambitious eye, to the fair bright magazine hath impoverished love's queen, to the exchequer of all honour, all take pensions but from her, to the taper of the Thor, which the god himself but bore, to the sea of chaste delight, let me cast the drop I write. And as to Loretto's shrine Caesar shovels in his mine, the Empress spreads her carcanets, the lords submit their coronets, knights their chaste arms hang by, maids diamond ruby fancies tie, whilst from the pilgrim she wears one poor false pearl but 10 true tears. So among the Orient prize sapphire onyx eulogies, offered up unto your fame, take my garnet doublet name, and vouchsafe midst those rich joys with devotion these toys. Richard Lovelace. End of dedication. Section 2. To Lucasta Going Beyond the Seas by Richard Lovelace. If to be absent were to be away from thee, or that when I am gone you or I were alone, then, my Lucasta, might I crave pity from blustering wind or swallowing wave. But I'll not sigh one blast or gale to swell my sail, or pay a tear to swage the foaming blue god's rage. For whether he will let me pass or no, I'm still as happy as I was. Though seas and land betwixt us both, our faith and troth, like separated souls, all time and space controls. Above the highest sphere we meet, unseen, unknown, and greet as angels greet. So then we do anticipate our after fate, and are alive the skies, if thus our lips and eyes can speak like spirits unconfined, in heaven their earthly bodies left behind. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 3. To Lucasta Going Beyond the Wars by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Mapstone. Tell me not, sweet, I am unkind, that from the nunnery of thy chaste breast and quiet mind to war and armies I fly. True, a new mistress now I chase, the first foe in the field, and with a stronger faith embrace a sword, a horse, a shield. Yet this inconstancy is such as you too shall adore. I could not love thee, dear, so much, loved I not honour more. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Section 4. To Amarantha, that she would dishevel her hair by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Mapstone. Amarantha, sweet and fair, ah, braid no more that shining hair. As my curious hand or eye, hovering round thee, let it fly. Let it fly as unconfined as its calm ravisher the wind. Who hath left his darling the east to wanton o'er that specie neist? Every tress must be confessed, but neatly tangled at the best, like a clue of golden thread, most excellently ravelled. Do not then wind up that light in ribbons, and or cloud in night, like the sun in early ray, but shake your head and scatter day. See, 'tis broke within this grove, the bower and the walks of love. Weary lie we down and rest, and fan each other's panting breast. Here we'll strip and cool our fire, in cream below, in milk baths higher. And when all wells are drawn dry, I'll drink a tear out of thine eye, which our very joys shall leave, that sorrows thus we can deceive, or our very sorrows weep, that joys so ripe so little keep. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 5. Sonnet, Depose Your Finger of That Ring, by Richard Lovelace. Depose your finger of that ring, and crown mine with it a while. Now I restore it. Pray, does it bring back with it more of soil? Or shines it not as innocent, as honest, as before 'twas lent? So then enrich me with that treasure, 'twill but increase your store, and please me, fair one, with that pleasure must please you still the more. Not to save others is a curse, the blackest, when ye are near the worse. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read by Kerry Adams, your book voice. Section 6. To Lucasta, the Rose, by Richard Lovelace. Sweet, serene, sky-like flower, haste to adorn her bower. From thy long cloudy bed, shoot forth thy damask head. New startled blush of Flora, the grief of pale Aurora, who will contest no more. Haste, haste to strew her floor. Vermilion ball that's given from lip to lip in heaven, love's couches cover led. Haste, haste to make her bed. Dear offspring of pleased Venus, and jolly plump Silenus, haste, haste to deck the hair of the only sweetly fair. See, rosy is her bower, her floor is all this flower, her bed a rosy nest, by a bed of roses pressed. But early as she dresses, why fly you from her bright tresses? Ah, I have found, I fear, because her cheeks are near. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read by Kerry Adams, your book voice. Section 7. Sonnet, When I by thy fair shape did swear, by Richard Lovelace. When I by thy fair shape did swear, and mingled with each vow a tear, I loved thee best. I swore as I professed, for all the while you lasted warm and pure, my oaths too did endure. But once turned faithless to thyself and old, they then with thee incessantly grew cold. I swore myself thy sacrifice by the ebon bows that guard thine eyes, which now are altered white, and by the glorious light of both those stars which, of their spheres bereft, only the gellies left. Then change thus, no more I'm bound to you, than swearing to a saint that proves untrue. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read by Kerry Adams, your book boys. Section 8, Lucasta Weeping, by Richard Lovelace. Lucasta wept, and still the bright, enamored god of day, with his soft handkerchief of light, kissed the wet pearls away. But when her tears his heat o'ercame, in clouds he quenched his beams, and grieved wept out his eye of flame, so drowned her sad streams. At this she smiled, when straight the sun, cleared by her kind desires, and by her eyes' reflection, fast kindled there his fires. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read by Kerry Adams, your book boys.
Section 9. To Lucasta, from Prison, by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Mapstone. Long in thy shackles, liberty I ask not from these walls, but thee, left for a while another's bride, to fancy all the world beside. Yet ere I do begin to love, see how I all my objects prove. Then my free soul to that confine, 'twere possible I might call mine. First I would be in love with peace, and her rich swelling breasts increase. But how, alas, how may that be, despising earth, she will love me? Fain would I be in love with war, as my dear just avenging star. But war is loved so everywhere, e'en he disdains a lodging here. Thee and thy wounds I would bemoan, fair thorough shot religion. But he lives only that kills thee, and whoso binds thy hand is free. I would love a parliament, as a main prop from heaven sent. But who's he that would be wedded to the fairest body that's beheaded? Next would I court my liberty, and then my birthright property. But can that be when it is known there's nothing you can call your own? A reformation I would have, as for our griefs a sovereign salve. That is a cleansing of each wheel of state that yet some rust doth feel. But not a reformation so as to reform were to o'erthrow, like watches by unskilful men disjointed and set ill again. The public faith I would adore, but she is bankrupt of her store. Nor how to trust her can I see, for she that cousins all must me. Since then none of these can be fit objects for my love and me, what then remains but the only spring of all our loves and joys, the king? He who, being the whole ball of day on earth, lends it to all. When seeking to eclipse his right, blinded we stand in our own light. And now an universal mist of error is spread o'er each breast, with such a fury edged as is not found in the innards of the abyss. O from thy glorious starry wane, dispense on me one sacred beam, to light me where I soon may see how to serve you, and you trust me. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 10. To Lucasta, by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. Lucasta, why so bright, spread with early streaked light, if still veiled from our sight, what is't but eternal night? Ah, Lucasta, why so chaste? With that vigour ripens graced, not to be by man embraced, makes that royal coin embased, and this golden orchard waste. Ah, Lucasta, why so great, that thy crammed coffers sweat, yet not owner of a seat, may shelter you from nature's heat, and your earthly joys complete? Ah, Lucasta, why so good, blessed with an unstained flood, flowing both through soul and blood? If it be not understood, 'tis a diamond in the mud. Lucasta, stay, why dost thou fly? Thou art not bright but to the eye, nor chaste but in the marriage tie, nor great but in this treasury, nor good but in that sanctity. Harder than the orient stone, like an apparition, or as a pale shadow gone, dumb and deaf she hence is flown. Then receive this equal doom. Virgins strow no tears or bloom, no one dig the Parian womb, raise her marble heart in the room, and 'tis both her corse and tomb. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 11. Upon the curtain of Lucasta's picture, it was thus wrought. By Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Dean Leggiero. Oh, stay that covetous hand, first turn all eye, all depth in mind, then mystically spy her soul's fair picture, her fair soul's in all, so truly copied from the original, that you will swear her body by this law is but its shadow, as this, its now draw. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 12. Lucasta's World by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. Cold is the breath of winds that blow to silver-shot descending snow. Lucasta's sight when she did close the world in frosty chains. And then a frown to rubies froze. The blood boiled in our veins, yet cooled not the heat her sphere of beauty's first had kindled there. Then moved, and with a sudden flame, impatient to melt all again, straight from her eyes she lightning hurled, and earth in ashes mourns. The sun his blaze denies the world, and in her lustre burns, yet warmed not the hearts her nice disdain had first congealed to ice. And now her tears nor grieved desire can quench this raging pleasing fire. Fate but one way allows, behold her smile's divinity. They fanned this heat, and thawed that cold, so framed up a new sky. Thus earth from flames and ice reprieved, ere since hath in her sunshine lived. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Section 13. To Ellinda, that lately I have not written, by Richard Lovelace. Recording by Cavaet. If in me anger or disdain, in you or both, made me refrain from the noble intercourse of verse that only virtuous thoughts rehearse, then, chaste Ellinda, might you fear the sacred vows that I did swear. But if alone some pious thought me to an inward sadness brought, thinking to breath your soul too well, my tongue was charmed with that spell, and left it, since there was no room to voice your worth enough, stroke doom. So then this silence doth reveal no thought of negligence, but zeal. For, as in adoration that is love's true devotion, children and fools the worlds repeat, but anchorites pray in tears and sweat. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Section 14. To Chloe, courting her for his friend, by Richard Lovelace. Read by Cavaet. Chloe, behold, again I bow, again possessed, again I woe. From my heat hath taken fire Damas, noble youth and fries, gazing with one of mine eyes. Damas, half of me expires. Chloe, behold, our fate's the same. Or make me cinders too, or quench his flame. I'd not be king, unless there sate lesser lords that shared with me in state, who by their cheaper coronets know what glories from my diadem flow. Its use and rate values the gem. Pearls in their shells have no esteem, and I, being the sun within my sphere, 'tis my chief beauty thinner lights shine there. The usurer heaps upon his store, by seeing others praise it more, who not for gain or want doth covet, but cause another loves doth love it. Thus gluttons cloyed afresh invite their gusts from some new appetite, and after cloth removed and beat, fall to again by seeing others eat. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Section 15. Gratiana, Dancing and Singing by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. See with what constant motion, even and glorious as the sun, Gratiana steers that noble frame, soft as her breast, sweet as her voice, that gave each winding law and poise, and swifter than the wings of fame. She beat the happy pavement by such star-made firmament, which now no more the roof envies, but swells up high with Atlas even, bearing the brighter, nobler heaven, and in her all the deities. Each step trod out a lover's thought, and the ambitious hopes he brought, chained to her brave feet with such arts, such sweet command and gentle awe, as when she ceased we sighing saw, the floor lay paved with broken hearts. So did she move, so did she sing, like the harmonious spheres that bring upon their round their musics aired, which she performed such a way, as all the enamoured world will say, the Graces danced and Apollo played. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 16. The Scrutinie by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Giordano. Why shouldst thou swear I am forsworn, since thine I vowed to be? Lady, it is already morn, and 'twas last night I swore to thee that fond impossibility. Have I not loved thee much and long? A tedious 12 months' space, I should all other beauties wrong, and rob thee of a new embrace, should I still dote upon thy face. Naught but all joy in thy brown hair in others may be found, but I must search the black and fair, like skilful mineralists that sound, for treasure in unplowed up ground. Then if, when I've loved my round, thou provest the pleasant she, with spoils of meaner beauties crowned, I laden will return to thee, even sated with variety. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Section 17. The Vintage to the Dungeon by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Giordano. Sing out, pent souls, sing cheerfully. Care shackles you in liberty. Mirth frees you in captivity. Would you double fetters add? Else why so sad? Chorus. Beside your pinioned arms you'll find grief to ken, manacle the mind. Live then, prisoners uncontrolled. Drink oath strong the rich, the old, till wine to hath your wits in hold. Then if still your jollity and throats are free. Chorus. Triumph in your bonds and pains, and dance to the music of your chains. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 18. To Althea from Prison by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Mapstone. When love with unconfined wings hovers within my gates, and my divine Althea brings to whisper at the grates, when I lie tangled in her hair and fettered to her eye, the birds that wanton in the air know no such liberty. When flowing cups run swiftly round, with no allaying Thames, our careless heads with roses bound, our hearts with loyal flames. When thirsty grief in wine we steep, when healths and draughts go free, fishes that tipple in the deep know no such liberty. When, like committed linnets, I with shriller throat shall sing the sweetest mercy, majesty, and glories of my King. When I shall voice aloud how good he is, how great should be, enlarged wings that curl the flood know no such liberty. Stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage. Minds innocent and quiet take that for an hermitage. If I have freedom in my love, and in my soul am free, angels alone that soar above enjoy such liberty. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section number 19. To His Fairest Valentine, Mrs. A. L. by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by John D. Swain. Come, pretty birds, present your lays, and learn to chant a goddess praise. Ye wood nymphs, let your voices be employed to serve her deity, and warble forth, ye virgins nine, some music to my Valentine. Her bosom is love's paradise. There is no heaven but in her eyes. She's chaster than the turtle dove, and fairer than the queen of love. Yet all perfections do combine to beautify my Valentine. She's nature's choicest cabinet, where honor, beauty, worth, and wit are all united in her breast. The graces claim an interest. All virtues that are most divine shine clearest in my Valentine. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 20. The Faire Begger by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Giordano. Commanding asker, if it be pity that you fain would have, then I turn beggar unto thee, and ask the thing that thou dost crave. I will suffice thy hungry need, so thou wilt but my fancy feed. In all ill years was ever known on so much beauty such a dearth, which in that thrice bequeathed gown looks like the sun eclipsed with earth, like golden canvas, or with dirt, unsoiled ermines close begirt. Yet happy he that can but taste this whiter skin who thirsty is. Fools dote on satin, motions laced. The gods go naked in their bliss. At the barrel's head there shines the vine. Their only relish is the wine. There quench my heat, and thou shalt sup, worthy the lips that it must touch. Nectar from out the starry cup. I beg thy breath not half so much, so both our wants supplied shall be. You'll give for love, I charity. Cheap then are pearl embroideries, that not adorn, but cloud thy waist. Thou shalt be clothed above all price, if thou wilt promise me embraced. I ransack neither chest nor shelf, I'll cover thee with mine own self. But cruel if thou dost deny this necessary alms to me. What soft-souled man but with his eye and hand will hence be shut to thee? Since all must judge you more unkind, I starve your body, you my mind. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section number 21. To Lucasta, Her Reserved Looks, by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by John D. Swain. Lucasta, frown and let me die, but smile and see I live. The sad indifference of your eye both kills and doth reprive. You hide our fate within its screen, we feel our judgment ere we hear, so in one picture I have seen an angel here, the devil there. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 22, Lucasta Laughing by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Dean Leggiero. Hark how she laughs aloud, although the world put on its shroud, wept at by the fantastic crowd, who cry, one drop let fall from her might save the universal ball. She laughs again at her ridiculous pain, and at her merry misery she laughs until she cry. Sages, forbear that ill-contrived tear, although your fear doth barricado hope from your soft ear. That which still makes her mirth to flow is our sinister-handed woe, which downward on its head doth go, and ere that is sown doth grow. This makes her spleen contract, and her just pleasure feast. For the unjustest act is still the pleasant'st jest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 23. Love Inthron'd by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Cavaet. In troth, I do myself persuade that the wild boy is grown a man, and all his childishness off laid, ere since Lucasta did his fires fan. He has left his apish jigs, and whipping hearts like gigs, for the other day I heard him swear that beauty should be crowned in honour's chair. With what a true and heavenly state he doth his glorious darts dispense, now cleansed from falsehood, blood, and hate, and newly tipped with innocence. Love justice is become, and doth the cruel doom. Reversed is the old decree, behold, he sits enthroned with majesty. Enthroned in Lucasta's eye, he doth our faith and hearts survey, then measures them by sympathy, and each to the other's breast convey, whilst to his altars now the frozen vestals bow, and strict Diana too doth go, a-hunting with his feared exchanged bow. The embracing seas and ambient air now in his holy fires burn. Fish couple, birds and beasts in pair, do their own sacrifices turn. This is a miracle that might religion swell, but she, that these and their god awes, her crowned self submits to her own laws. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section number 24. To Lucasta, I Laugh and Sing, by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by John D. Swain. I laugh and sing, but cannot tell whether the folly on it sounds well. But then I groan, methinks in tune, whilst grief, despair, and fear dance to the air of my despised prayer. A pretty antic love does this, then strikes a galliard with a kiss, as in the end the chords they rend. So you, but with a touch from your fair hand, turn all to saraband. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Section number 25. To Lucasta, Like to the Sentinel Stars, by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by John D. Swain. Like to the sentinel stars, I watch all night, for still the grand round of your light and glorious breast awake in me an east, nor will my rolling eyes e'er know a west. Now on my down I'm tossed as on a wave, and my repose is made my grave. Fluttering I lie, do beat myself and die, but for a resurrection from your eye. Ah, my fair murderess, dost thou cruelly heal with various pains to make me well? Then let me be thy cut anatomy, and in each mangled part my heart you'll see. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 26. The Ant by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Mapstone. Forbear, thou great good husband, little ant, a little respite from thy flood of sweat. Thou, thine own horse and cart, under this plant, thy spacious tent, fan thy prodigious heat. Down with thy double load of that one grain, it is a granary for all thy train. Cease, large example of wise thrift awhile, for thy example is become our law. And teach thy frowns a seasonable smile, so Cato sometimes the naked florals saw. And thou, almighty foe, lay by thy sting, whilst thy unpaid musicians crickets sing. Lucasta, she that wholly makes the day, and stills new life in fields of Fulamore, hath back restored their verdure with one ray, and with her eye bid all to play and sport. Ant, to work still. Age will thee truant call, and to save now, thou'rt worse than prodigal. Austere and cynic, not 1 hour to allow to lose with pleasure what thou got'st with pain, but drive on sacred festivals thy plough, tearing highways with thy o'ercharged wain. Not all thy lifetime 1 poor minute live, and thy o'erlaboured bulk with mirth relieve. Look up then, miserable ant, and spy thy fatal foes for breaking of their law. Hovering above thee, Madam Margaret Pye, and her fierce servant, meagre Sir John Daw. Thyself and storehouse now they do store up, and thy whole harvest too within their crop. Thus we unthrifty thrive within earth's tomb, for some more ravenous and ambitious jaw. The grain in the ants, the ant in the pie's womb, the pie in the hawk in the eagle's maw. So scattering to hoard against a long day, thinking to save all, we cast all away. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 27. Song, Strive Not, Vain Lover, by Richard Lovelace. Strive not, vain lover, to be fine. Thy silk's the silkworm's, and not thine. You lesson to a fly your mistress thought, to think it may be in a cobweb caught. What though her thin transparent lawn thy heart in a strong net hath drawn? Not all the arms the god of fire e'er made can the soft bulwarks of naked love invade. Be truly fine, then, and yourself dress in her fair soul's immaculate glass. Then by reflection you may have the bliss perhaps to see what a true fineness is, when all your gauderies will fit those only that are poor in wit. She that a clinkant outside doth adore, dotes on a gilded statue, and no more. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read by Mark Leader. Section 28. Courante Monsieur by Richard Lovelace. That frown, Aminta, now hath drowned thy bright front's power, and crowned me that was bound. No, no, deceived cruel, no. Love's fiery darts, till tipped with kisses, never kindle hearts. Adieu, weak beauteous tyrant, see, thy angry flames meant me, retort on thee. For know it is decreed, proud fair, I ne'er must die by any scorching, but a melting eye. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read by Mark Leader. Section 29. Song. In Mine Own Monument I Lie by Richard Lovelace. In mine own monument I lie, and in myself am buried. Sure the quick lightning of her eye melted my soul, its scabbard dead. And now like some pale ghost I walk, and with another's spirit talk. Nor can her beams a heat convey that may my frozen bosom warm, unless her smiles have power, as they that a cross charm can counter charm. But this is such a pleasing pain, I'm loath to be alive again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Read by Mark Leader.
Section 30. Another by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Dean Leggiero. I did believe I was in heaven, when first to heaven herself was given, that in my heart her beams did pass as some sun keep in a glass, so that her beauties thorough me did hurt my rival enemy. But fate, alas, decreed it so, that I was engine to my woe, for as a cornered crystal spot, my heart diaphanous was not, but solid stuff where her eye flings quick fire upon the catching strings. Yet, as triumphs in the night, you see the prince's arms in light. So when I once was set on flame, I burnt all o'er the letters of her name. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Section 31. The Snayl by Richard Lovelace. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Mapstone. Wise emblem of our politic world, sage Snayl, within thine own self curled, instruct me softly to make haste, while these my feet go slowly fast. Compendious Snayl, thou seem'st to me large Euclid's strict epitome, and in each diagram dost fling thee from the point unto the ring. A figure now triangular, an oval now, and now a square, and then a serpentine does crawl, now a straight line, now crooked, now all. Preventing rival of the day, thou'rt up and openest thy ray, and ere the morn cradles the moon, thou'rt broke into a beauteous noon. Then when the sun sups in the deep, thy silver horns ere Cynthia's peep, and thou from thine own liquid bed, new Phoebus, heav'st thy pleasant head. Who shall a name for thee create, deep riddle of mysterious state? Bold nature that gives common birth to all products of seas and earth, of thee, as earthquakes, is afraid, nor will thy dire delivery aid. Thou, thine own daughter then, and sire, that son and mother art entire, that big still with thyself doth go, and liv'st an aged embryo, that like the cubes of India, thou from thyself a while dost play, but frighted with a dog or gun, in thine own belly thou dost run, and as thy house was thine own womb, so thine own womb concludes thy tomb. But now I must, analysed king, thy economic virtues sing, thou great state husband still within, thou thee that thine dost discipline. And when thou art to progress bent, thou moves thyself and tenement, as warlike Scythians travelled you. Remove your men and city too, then after a sad dearth and rain, thou scatterest thy silver train, and when the trees grow naked and old, thou clothest them with cloth of gold, which from thy bowels thou dost spin, and draw from the rich mines within. Now hast thou changed thee, saint, and made thyself a fane that coupelard, and in thy wretched cloister thou walkest thine own grey friar too, strict and locked up, thou'rt hood all o'er, and ne'er eliminatest thy door. On salads doth thou feed severe, and stead of beads thou dropp'st a tear, and when to rest each calls the bell. Thou sleep'st within thy marble cell, where in dark contemplation placed, the sweets of nature thou dost taste, who now with time thy days resolve, and in a jelly thee dissolve, like a shot star which doth repair upward and rarefy the air. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. End of Lucasta by Richard Lovelace.